And we are back. And as you can see, Ollie's tank moving forwards. You can see that's that low cone. Okay, that's all that sight, all that whiter area, that brighter area, is all he can see. And if anything's behind cover in that brighter area, so that he can't see it, it's going to jump out. Might have a rocket launcher, might have an anti-tank grenade. Submachine gunners all come with anti-tank grenades. So do squad leaders most of the time, unless you're using crappy, really, really poor infantry. And this is funny because he's using an AP shell. He hasn't remembered to switch to high explosive shells, and he fires into cover to try and blow it up. Sherman gun, very, very good for fighting infantry. Very, very good high explosive capability. Because it's 75mm to gun, and 75mm gun is good. And there, massive problem. Pack 40, right in the background, you can see it just, that red dot that comes up on the minimap behind this point, that's the problem. If you don't support your tanks, a pack gun, or something else, if you had infantry moving around, maybe the pack gun would have fired a high explosive shell at them. Then the tank could have moved forward, fired its high explosive shell at the thing, at the anti-tank gun. Pack 40 wouldn't have been able to do anything. It'd have been blown to smithereens. And as you can see, I'm just talking there under my old pseudonym, which is JW Leicester. My flares have run out. Flares are for, and this infantry squad caught in the open, ambushed by two men. One of whom is a machine gunner, I believe. I'm not even sure. But amazingly enough, purely through numbers, they managed to take him out. Ollie makes a bad decision here. There's a big gap just to the right in that field. And that Pack 40 he knows is there. It could fire high explosive shells into this field. That road that he's just crossed is raised. If he'd have gone the other side of that road, cut around, he could have flanked around where the school building is, gone into where that other Pack 38, I believe it is. I think it find out at some point it's Pack 38, not a Pack 40, or people warn that it's Pack 40 all the time, because Pack 40 is what people normally get. Nobody buys a Pack 38. Don't know why, really. You see, this squad moves up into a heavily fortified area. You can't do anything. There's German infantry all the time. For some reason, there's a random truck in the background. I have no idea what that thing's doing. And they just get wiped out. I mean, you know, he takes out... I don't see anybody dying, you know. There's Kugelblitz, his infantry is just tearing into whatever, and you can see, it just comes up, Kugelblitz, MP42, Kugelblitz, Flat 40, all Oliver's troops are getting wiped out, whole squad wasted. It's 109 points, and you can see, no special points used yet. This is a problem. Special points are exceedingly useful in defining the way that you fight. You can buy 5 squads of those excellent infantry, the US Marine Corps, or you can, buy one super Pershing, really heavy tank with a really powerful 90mm gun. But that's not what we want to do, and that's what we're doing. I'm doing it as well. I'm making the same mistake on the right hand side. You can see I'm not bothering to push up. I'm banking or sending units to help. I'm trying to take this midpoint well. Look, I bought a jumbo tank, a Sherman with tons of armor mounted on the front. That's the worst thing to do against Germany, a team that are known for their slow but very, very powerful vehicles. I shouldn't be doing this, although admittedly it's probably quite good for taking out emplacements. It's a Sherman, which means it's already very good at taking out emplacements and infantry, and that's all there is on the left hand side. So far, we've seen one tank by the Germans, one Panzer II, which is a light reconnaissance vehicle. It's not a vehicle for fighting wars. It's a vehicle for finding out where people are and killing them. And then if they happen to have anything bigger than an anti-tank rifle, it will get wiped out. But you see, Ollie also, he's got 800 odd points here. Spend them! Buy something! Buy a light artillery gun. Don't buy the heavy artillery gun. This is spoilers. I know he buys the heavy artillery gun. For me, I'm not a fan of the heavy artillery gun. Why? It reloads slower. That's it. For me, artillery is about being able to use it as often as possible. Artillery is not World War I style artillery, okay? You shouldn't be going, okay, the enemy is somewhere over there, fire tons of times. You should be using artillery to take out specific targets that can't be taken out directly. Anti-tank guns that are very well entrenched, perfect time to take out artillery. Rocket launchers, perfect time to use artillery. Multiple rocket launchers are really slow. Almost all of them are exceedingly slow. The Russian one Comes on the back of some old crappy truck. It's awful. And Ollie moving up in a clump. This is a problem that Ollie's have. This isn't a tactical problem. This is simply a problem of actions per minute, APM. You're just not fast enough. I mean, I'm not fast enough. As well as that, I've noticed he hasn't been using his hand grenades very much. Infantry have hand grenades. They're great to throw over cover. He has smoke grenades. He has anti-tank grenades. He's easy to be using this. And there you can see my M4A3 E2 Jumbo is getting hit from the side now. The enemy's got a Hetzer, which is basically a tank with no turret. It's just got it's got a bigger gun on the front because it has more space because it doesn't have a turret. It's just a one big thing, and then unhitching his heavy artillery gun, which in my opinion he shouldn't have bought, but hey, he bought it. It's his choice. There's a bit of a glitch here, trying to turn it around. It doesn't come up with the icon that it is turning around. Actually, if he'd have clicked then, it would have turned around. Sometimes when you do stuff like try to turn around, try to set up sandbags, it doesn't come up with the icon when you kind of hover over the map. But it is possible to do it anyway. It just isn't coming with the icon. It is registering. And here, going into direct control to use artillery. Good move. Artillery should really be direct controlled. You shouldn't leave it on fire at will because that's just foolish. It will fire at the first infantry that it sees. This is a suicidal car. I don't know what Ollie was doing. I think basically he'd just bought the truck and he thought, hey, fuck it, I'll just throw it away. Need to provide a bit of line of sight. Probably not even doing that. And you see, this Hetzer's gotten really close to my Jumbo here. Ollie should have been trying to move around. You see, if he'd penetrated further into this field on the right-hand side of this truck, where this truck is now, he could maybe have moved infantry up with rocket launchers and hit that Hetzer from the side. Then we'd have taken that point. But, as well as that, maybe if I bought something other than a stupid Jumbo, which is incredibly slow and vulnerable to a vehicle like the Hetzer, which is specifically for taking out stuff like that, then we wouldn't be in this mess either. So I'm not just having a go at Ollie here. Although he is my friend. So therefore I will continue to... And there you see, moving the map. Don't know why he moved the map over there. I think it's probably because his artillery is at the top there, but he's hardly ever going to be using his artillery. Look at, and this is the examine button. He's doing exactly what I do. Click on your guy, click the examine button, click on the thing. Oh, wrong, I forgot to right click or left, and there's nothing in the truck anyway. You can take things from dead bodies from off the floor. Quite often in this game, people their way of certain and charging up into the squad of I'm not sure. Just German infantry will do. And you can see, our tank roster, our actual number of tanks is quite low compared to the Germans. Germans have something like 9 tanks in there and about 9 tank destroyers, whereas we've got 5 and 3 tank destroyers. We need to be fighting this war using outflanking. And here, Ollie buys one of the best outflanking tanks in the game. The M26 Chaffee tank. It's actually a very late war tank. It's not a light tank in the way that it was just light because it was the start of the war. And a lot of tanks were light at the start of the war, apart from the French. They had very big tanks. Right, the French probably should have won the war when Germany first invaded, if they'd had any brains about it. Their generals were pretty pants, basically. French generals during World War II, really not smart. Chaffee, very, very fast. It's got the same gun as a Sherman tank on it, despite the fact that it's a light tank. It's a reconnaissance vehicle again. And here, it's going to take out this thing. But he's not scouted this area. There's no infantry that moved into this gap that came up earlier in the game. So what happens? He fires a shot, misses, because that happens occasionally. And what happens? Another anti-tank gun, a Flak 37, a huge, great big anti-tank gun. The famous German 88mm anti-aircraft, artillery, tank, anti-tank, everything gun takes out the Chaffee. I mean, how surprising. That thing was known for taking out pretty much everything. It's got huge armor penetration in this game. I think it can take out pretty much every vehicle at point blank range, apart from stuff like the Elephant, maybe. Even that, I'm not sure. The Elephant is a huge German tank destroyer that's absolutely massive and exceedingly powerful. It has that same gun on the front, and it's very, very nasty vehicle to come up against. You put it on a flank or the center, and basically it's an impenetrable brick. Can be kind of vulnerable to infantry though. Its engine's at the front, so if you get an anti-tank grenade on that, the thing's gone. It's going to blow up probably. If the engine sets on fire at the very least, it will be totally immobile, and it doesn't have turret. Yeah, I'm complaining at the moment. I brought up an M18 Hellcat. It's a very, very light vehicle with a very, very powerful 76mm anti-tank gun. The gun that they upgraded the Sherman to use. But very light chassis, very fast. I brought it up to try and take out that hetzer from the front. Just penetrates, just blow it to smithereens. For some reason I couldn't fire. I think probably my tank had just been hit and the crew were injured. So, they were unable. And you can see here, Jawad Zeg brought up a mortar. Why have you brought up a mortar? A mortar is the sort of... It's not used for what we're doing at the moment. What they're doing at the moment is they have lots of very powerful emplacements and infantry. It's for taking out, well... I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the mortar myself, to be honest. I've never really gone into work. And you see here, Ollie, suicidal charge. Oh. And here, he should be using his grenade. The guy has a grenade, but no. He just gets shot because he's fapping around. Fapping around. He's faffing around. Don't say fapping around. It's a bit weird. You see, very brutal combat. Just running out like that isn't going to work. Throw grenades over the building, Ollie. Throw grenades over the building. Anybody who's watching this. Throw grenades over buildings at people. Grenades are exceedingly powerful. And I don't think Ollie throws a single grenade during this game. You can really tell the difference between veteran players of Men of War who are extremely... Ooh, massive explosion there. Not entirely sure what that was. That could have been all sorts of things. It just came up with World Explode. So I guess maybe it was the artillery gun. And see here, finally, we've taken it out. We're starting to capture it. And but there's still infantry around. You know, we haven't taken this area. There's still a Pack 40 on that hill. There's still a Pack 38 just behind it. The left-hand side is still taken. We need, at this point, to start probing with light vehicles. You know, anything. We get like a jeep with a machine gun on the back. And just get into an area where the Germans aren't expecting us, where they're still sprinting. Because if you set a unit to sprint... And we're finished again. I will be back in a moment.